The New King James is probably one of the most dangerous versions out there, because it leads you to think, oh, it's the same as the King James. It's just more modern, updated words. If that's all it was, I wouldn't even bring it up.
Because a lot of people who wouldn't touch the NIV with a 10-foot pole, they wouldn't touch the ESV or the New Living Translation with a 10-foot pole, but they say, come on, Pastor Anderson, the New King James, it's pretty much the same as the King James. It just gets rid of the these and the thous. It's just like the King James, except a little easier to understand. Okay, well, let me give you some stats on the New King James. The New King James omits the word Lord 66 times. It removes the word God 51 times. It removes the word heaven 50 times. It removes the word repent 44 times. The blood is removed 23 times. The word hell is removed 22 times. But let me just show you some doctrinal changes that the New King James make that pervert doctrine. Go to 1 Corinthians 1:18.
For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved, it is the power of God.
Brother Garrett, read that for me nice and loud in the New King James.
For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God.
So notice, in the King James it said that we are saved. In the New King James it said we're being saved. Big difference, because salvation is not a process. Salvation happens in a moment of time, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. We believe on Christ and we are passed from death to life. It's not a process. I'm not being saved. I done been saved. Amen. 2 Corinthians 2:15 says this, for we are unto God a sweet savor of Christ in them that are saved and in them that perish. Read it for me from the New King James.
For we are to God the fragrance of Christ among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing.
Again, not that are saved, but those who are being saved, as if it's a process. Matthew 7:14, for example, in the New King James, says, difficult is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. The King James says narrow, referring to how many people are going, referring to the fact that there are few that be saved. The New King James says it's difficult. Now, if it were by works, it would be difficult.
New Living Translation says, but the gateway to life is very narrow, and the road is difficult, and only a few ever find it. The English Standard Version says, for the gate is narrow, and the way is hard. And that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Now you say, well, Pastor Menace, what's the big deal? Straight, narrow, difficult, hard. What's the big deal? Here's the big deal. Is it hard to get saved?
Hey, Jesus did the hard part. How hard is it to accept a gift? How hard is it to take a drink of water? How hard is it to walk through a door? How hard is it to eat a piece of bread? These are the things that Jesus compared salvation to, because it's easy to be saved because you don't have to work your way to heaven. You know what salvation is referred to in the Bible as, in the book of Hebrews? Rest. Look, is rest hard? Don't be deceived by these modern versions. You might be tempted one day, you know, this church uses the New King James, but so what? It's a big deal.